Hey everybody, this is attorney Adam Tracy. Today I want to talk about the Bitcoin hard fork and how that may affect you if you're holding Bitcoin. It's been adopted by Bitfinex and maybe a couple other exchanges. It's not universal, but I've been getting a lot of calls via email, phone about it, so I figured I'd sort of address it here. And so for those of you who are not aware, what happened was you had holders of Bitcoin in Bitfinex were given an additional coin, a new coin, Bitcoin Cash, for each single Bitcoin they had. And the question becomes, how is that possible? What does that mean? What's the value of the coin? The coin traded, wildly yesterday. And so how do you make sense of it? I think the most easy example to compare it to is a spin out in the equity world, right? And so if you think about the company PayPal, which was owned by eBay for most of its existence. Some years ago when PayPal was spun out, what happened was each shareholder holding a single share of eBay was given a new share of PayPal, and PayPal began to trade as its own publicly traded corporation, and its shareholder base was effectively the same as that of eBay on that date. So what we've effectively done here is the same thing. We've spun out a new coin from original Bitcoin and called it Bitcoin Cash. And arguably, the value of that Bitcoin Cash was inherent in the price of Bitcoin prior to that split. Now, whether that holds true or not isn't exactly correct, because we're talking about, at the end of the day, a commodity versus equity, if you go back to the eBay and PayPal split. So the valuations are sort of tough to make, and I think they're amorphous, but it is a solution, to the problems plaguing Bitcoin, and inherently, those individuals who had the coin, who had Bitcoin on that day, and were subject to the hard fork and received the Bitcoin Cash coin, were effectively rewarded for their investment. Right? It's just inherently in the value of Bitcoin, and in theory, the value of Bitcoin should have decreased commensurate with the increase in the value of the Bitcoin Cash. Now that didn't happen, which again I think happens for two reasons. One, we're talking about a commodity. In a straight spin-out situation, you'd see something equivalent to that depending on market forces. On the other hand, it's really in a liquid market, and the hard fork hasn't been adopted. Hasn't been universally adopted. So you're going to see some real crazy price fluctuations on the Bitcoin Cash. It may never be adopted universally, and then what's the value of it? Who knows? So at the end of the day, I think it's inherently risky to sort of jump into the Bitcoin Cash. I think the concept and how they did it makes sense. I think it makes sense both legally, from a compliance standpoint, and also from a practical standpoint in terms of how this currency continues to develop and go mainstream. So just wanted to sort of air my thoughts on that. Feel free to give me a call or email me, at@tracyfirm.com. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. Cheers.